Og nu gælder det Kærlighedens veje i efterkrigsårenes Ohio i den lille by River Run.
Previously on the Homefront.
I'd like to invite you out.
Don't. I'd say no.
Is it because I'm Jewish?
It's because I'm not dating anybody. The last thing I want to worry about is what my hair looks like on a Saturday night. I should go in.
And face the Inquisition?
What Inquisition?
Your children, wanting to know what happened on our date.
Oh, I doubt if they gave a second thought about it.
Just so you'll have something to tell them about.
I'm such a hypocrite. I did exactly what I've always told my children not to do. It's just like with the cookies. Whenever I baked cookies, they could have 2 apiece, no more, and then I'd put the rest away. But after the children were asleep, I would sneak down into the kitchen, and I would eat and eat and eat.
Did the hypocrisy eventually embarrass you enough to stop eating the cookies?
Did it what?
Did you give up the cookies?
I'm ashamed to say I did not.
That's a relief.
Every one of you is a gift from God. God has a plan. Always a plan, even if we don't always understand it. God's plan for me.
Oh, no. If you're sick, we should know if you're not dying.
Dying? No, I'm having a baby.
I didn't think Mom could get pregnant at her age.
Maybe Mom didn't think she could either.
You realize she did everything she told us not to do? She dated a non-Catholic. She had sex outside of marriage.
She's gonna have to take a trip.
Who's got money for that?
I'll lay odds the son of a bitch who did this to her won't help out.
She could stay with Aunt Irene.
She won't stay with relatives. She's never going to admit she's pregnant.
She told us.
She had to. We'd have found out sooner or later.
What do we tell people?
We don't tell people anything.
I haven't even told
What
Ginger.
about when she starts to show?
She'll have to leave before then.
She's going to have a baby brother.
Half-brother or half-sister if she doesn't give it up for adoption.
Will she?
At her age, how's she gonna take care of a child? Even if she's willing to put up with all the questions, I'm sure not babysitting Alcon's little bastard.
What if they get married?
He's Jewish.
So?
Mom would never marry a non-Catholic.
Well, we used to say she would never date a non-Catholic. And she did.
Jewish is beside the point, Linda. The man's no better than a traveling salesman. He isn't fit to be a husband. He probably already skipped town.
Not Al.
Like you're any judge of character. You're the one who brought him around here in the first place.
It must have happened during their trip to Cleveland.
It was a day trip.
Good Lord, during the day.
Hi.
Hi.
Mind if I join you?
Al? No. Hey!
Hey!
You got to accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative, and latch on to the affirmative. Don't mess with Mr. In Between. You gotta spread joy up to the maximum, bring gloom down to the minimum. Have faith or pandemonium, liable to walk upon the scene. To illustrate my last remark,
Jonah in the whale, Noah in the ark.
what did they do just when everything looked so dark? Man, they said you got to accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative, and latch on to the affirmative. Don't mess with Mr. In Between. No, don't mess with Mr. In Between. No, don't mess with Mr. In Between. No, don't mess with Mr. In Between.
You told your children you were pregnant? You didn't tell me?
Shh. I didn't mean to tell them. But after the funeral, it just came out.
Let's get married.
You don't have to say that.
You have
Honestly, Anne, you have the oddest responses to my invitations. Whether I'm asking you out on a date or inviting you for a cup of coffee. But of all the odd responses, the last thing I expected was you didn't have to say that. I know I don't have to say it, but I am proposing marriage.
You're just being polite.
Most people consider politeness an asset. I'm also serious.
You're very kind. And I respect you for being honorable.
Kind, polite, honorable. I've never heard these words spoken with so little enthusiasm.
I do respect you. But I can't marry you.
You don't love me?
I love you. But the only reason you're asking is because there's a child involved.
Well, having a child is certainly a great reason for getting married. And what's wrong if that is the reason?
You wouldn't have proposed if I hadn't been pregnant, would you?
I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe not yet. But that's a theoretical question now. And besides, you wouldn't be pregnant if I didn't love you. And come to think of it, you're only turning me down because there's a child involved, because if there weren't, you'd have no reason not to take my proposal seriously. So you're doing the same thing you're accusing me of. And if you're not accepting my proposal because you think I only made it because there's a child involved, then I can't accept your no. Because you're only saying no because there's a child involved.
Be honest. You wouldn't have proposed otherwise. And even if you had, I couldn't have accepted because you're not Catholic.
Oh, it's all right to have an affair with someone outside your faith, but not to marry him.
Don't twist my words. I never said it was right to have an affair.
Well, if you don't marry me...
I'll go away for a few months.
Go away where?
Maybe Florida. I'll find an inexpensive place to rent.
Why go away?
In case you haven't noticed, there are no homes for unwed widows. I'll go away before I start showing, and when I come back, I'll say I adopted the baby.
You'll adopt your own baby?
Well, that way the children... I won't be embarrassed.
I have a simpler solution. Marry me. I want you to marry me.
Thank you for the offer, Al. I mean that with all my heart. Thank you.
Thank you? Thank you?
Weeks to save up another $427. We're never gonna make it.
You say you're never gonna make it, you're never going to. But if you have the right attitude about this, you will.
Nobody's giving up hope, Mother.
Well, I know you haven't.
I put my trust in the Lord.
And so should we all.
We're gonna own our own business if we have to eat grits 3 times a day, 7 days a week. Any luck?
Man, there were 40 or 50 men and 2 part-time openings.
You'll find something. You hungry?
Yes, ma'am.
Then you come with me. I have tickets to the chili supper down at the church.
Great.
2 tickets is all I could afford.
Oh. Well, you two having a good time.
You can go, Dad.
Your parents have to work tonight.
You sure?
Thanks for the offer.
You go put on that nice jacket.
I would hope if anybody's doing any matchmaking with my son, they would check with me about it.
Who says I'm matchmaking? Where are my manners? I want to introduce you to my grandson, Robert. He went and sold all that he had and bought it. Matthew 13. Marriage was doomed from the start because of the man's finicky stomach.
doing stirring up all that trouble like that?
Damn you.
Robert, look at what I've won in the raffle. 2 tickets to the Indian season opener.
Congratulations, Mrs. Davis.
They're yours, Robert.
Thank you.
Who are you going to take?
Big day coming up, huh?
Don't say big day, it could jinx me.
I hardly think that by saying
Don't
big
say-
day it's gonna jinx anybody.
Ginger, it's hard enough to concentrate on hitting with everything that's going on around here.
What everything?
Mom is feeling poorly. Linda's out of work. Hank's a walking bundle of nerves. He sleeps on the Davenport because his bedroom reminds him of Sarah.
Well, then you're just gonna have to take their minds off their troubles by hitting home runs. That's what baseball's for, isn't it?
You're gonna jinx me.
You're gonna jinx yourself talking about all these jinxes. And you don't want to do that because everybody's going to your season opener.
And that's the whole problem.
I thought having people watch you, that was the whole point of building a stadium.
But what if I make a fool out of myself? I mean, what if I don't get hit? What if I strike out or drop an easy fly? Trip on my shoelace, fall on my face? Won't that be just dandy?
When I broke my heel at graduation, and about a zillion of my classmates laughed at me, I kept my head up high. I pretended not to notice, and eventually they shut their yaps. The fans will do that too.
I'll try to remember that.
Hi. How you feeling?
Fine.
Good. Did you get tickets for the game?
Yes.
Did you buy me one?
No?
Would you have an extra one I can use?
No, but I'm sure you can get a ticket.
You have general admission or reserved?
We splurged, Hank bought reserved.
But I want a seat next to yours.
Al?
I want to go to the game with you. I want to go to the grocer's with you. I want to go to breakfast with you. I want to go to bed with you. I want to marry you.
Please.
No, please. It's God's will that we get married.
No, don't you dare make fun.
Don't think that you're the only one that can quote God, which you do rather freely. And I'm not objecting, I'm only pointing it out. You're all the time talking about this will of God idea and God's plan and all, and I've been thinking. Now, hear me out. I've been thinking about it, and I'm willing to concede that you have a point. Because if it wasn't God's will, why the hell would I be sent to River Run to organize the very factory where your children work? And why would your daughter have introduced me to your family? And why would I have fallen in love with you? And why would you be pregnant by me, huh? Because it's God's will, that's why. God has a plan, and you've said it yourself a million times. No, you've said it to me, and you've said it to your children. There is a reason for everything, even if we don't understand it, and I don't understand it. But it's God's will that we get married.
This is the first time you've said you believe in God.
Whether or not I do is not the point. The point is that you believe, and I'm holding you to it. Yes, I am. Turning me down would demonstrate a profound, potentially damnable, and I use the term advisedly, lack of faith in God's will. You have to marry me as an act of faith. I'm the best dance partner you'll ever have in your life. I'll always be faithful because I love you. And that's what marriage means to me. I love that baby already, and it's not fair for you to keep me from being its father because I would be a great father. Maybe a nudge, maybe not so good at carpentry, but for all my imperfections, I am the perfect person to help out because if that kid turns out anything like me, you're going to need all the help you can get in raising him.
Did you know that, statistically speaking, a great percentage of mixed marriages fail?
Why do you suppose that is?
My experience is that love blinds some people to differences that, after the vows, become more apparent and more important.
Well, that would be true of all couples, wouldn't it?
To a degree. Perhaps it's more the case with spouses of different cultures and religions.
Well, Anne and I are both Americans, and I'm not religious.
Would you like a cup of coffee, Father?
Please.
None for me, thanks.
You don't practice your faith?
I practice my faith to the extent that I try and live by my beliefs, but I'm not religious.
One spouse's lack of religion could put even greater strain on a marriage than a different religion might.
That might be the case if the irreligious one held beliefs antithetical to the other's religion. But one of the tenets of my faith is that I respect another person's convictions. I practice that religiously. And in fact, in a way, it might be to our advantage that I'm not religious, because if I were, Anne would have to convert to my faith before we could be married.
Well, that's a hypothetical advantage only. Because the strength of Anne's faith is such that she could never abandon it.
But my lack of religious practice removes an obstacle.
I'd be loath to call any sincere religious practice an obstacle.
Which is why you're not asking me to convert.
That's not our requirement or custom. The gift of faith must be accepted freely.
This is simpler than I had imagined.
I have to believe, Mr. Kahn, that at your age, you're capable of informed decisions.
I appreciate your faith in me, because one of my informed decisions was to divorce my first wife. Ah, is that a problem?
Is your first wife a Catholic?
No.
A civil ceremony between two non-Catholics presents no impediment, because in the eyes of the church, you were never married.
I've always wished I'd never done it. I'm glad to know it never happened. Are there any other impediments I should know about?
If Anne were younger, there would be other issues, but at her age...
Al, would you give me a hand, please?
Excuse me, Fudd.
Certainly.
I want you to go next door for a cup of sugar.
I'll be glad to.
What's that? Sugar. I want to talk to him alone for a few minutes.
Talking to him is like getting through a maze and working a crossword puzzle at the same time. How am I doing?
You're enjoying it too much. I'm sorry, Father. Al had to go next door for a cup of sugar.
Oh, you shouldn't have him go to that trouble for me.
Oh, he's happy to. Father, I want to assure you, he is one of the most honest, moral men I've ever known.
He's a man of strong convictions and considerable pride. They make the best converts.
I don't think he has any intention of converting.
What would his current intentions have to do with it? How can we guess what God has in store for him? Faith is a gift. You could very well have the privilege of being responsible for bringing another soul to Christ.
Well, yes. In fact...
We sometimes forget that the first Christian marriages were all mixed marriages. And from them came our entire religious culture.
Here we are.
Mr. Kahn, I should have stopped you before you went out. I'm afraid I've overstayed and have to ask you for a ride to the parish.
I'd be glad to.
I'll come along.
As long as you're both going and you have no plans for the evening, you can attend your first pre-Cana class with the other engaged couples.
I don't think...
Great. We didn't have anything to do tonight.
Must be providential that I'm late.
I still say 2 jobs is 1 job too many.
Well, it's not forever.
Tell my feet that. Would you tell Robert when he comes in that I left a plate in the oven?
I'll put it in the fridge for him. I wouldn't expect him back for a good while.
He's been home?
Come and gone.
Gone where?
So what did your grandmother tell you about me?
You're 26, you have a good job, and you like jazz.
I'm 24. I have a job here, which I wouldn't call good, but I do like jazz.
She got the most important part right.
Have you ever met this young lady?
I knew her when she was a child.
When she was a child?
She's Miranda Tilson's granddaughter, and Miranda is one of my oldest friends. Mary Louise is new in town, and she doesn't know a soul.
Well, she knows Robert now.
So what did your grandmother tell you about me?
That you're a veteran with more medals than can fit on a shirt. That you got a good job here, and that you like jazz.
Yeah, truth is, my ribbons fit comfortably right above my pocket, and I had a job until the lockout, and I have on occasion been persuaded to pick up a sax.
Is that a fact?
Yes, it is.
Well, I've been known to be persuasive.
I don't know how he can afford to be out on the town.
Maybe they just took a walk, like I did in my courting days.
You gave him a few dollars, didn't you, Ma?
Maybe I did and maybe I didn't. And I don't like being cross-examined. And besides, I have a thing or two I want to get off of my chest. Now, maybe you two are in over your heads, but all you ever do is work and talk about working money.
Don't criticize us for trying to get ahead like you did, like you taught me to.
Don't criticize me for trying to bring a little fun into your son's life.
Are you sure you're not trying to bring a wife into his life?
And if I am, my age, I'm entitled. My hospital stay started me thinking. Now, I knew my great-grandmother, and I think I have a right to know my great-grandchildren. I want to see some fat little babies running around in this house before I pass from this earth. And besides, he has to bring someone to the Indians opener.
Where'd you get tickets?
Your mom.
I'm glad so many of you remembered the change from Tuesday to Wednesday nights. And we are privileged tonight to welcome another couple who join us in seeking to approach the altar after careful and prayerful consideration with God's blessing. And let them be a reminder to you younger folks of the joy of marriage in later life, even after the childbearing years, when the duties of parenthood are well behind you. Al and Ann have many productive years ahead of them, many years to labor mightily in the vineyards of the Lord. Until that time, when the joy of companionship in old age is their final reward for faith, love, and constancy in marriage. Good night.
Good night, Father.
Good night, Father.
You didn't tell him. How could you not tell him?
Don't use that accusatory tone with me. I don't speak or think as quickly as you do, and I haven't decided what to say.
What's to say? You say 2 words. I'm pregnant.
That's not so easy for me.
I'll say it.
No, you will not.
And Father Dreyer approved of it?
He held him up to the class as an example of the joys of marriage after the childbearing years.
It's so romantic they can fall in love at their age. How come you're not jumping up and down?
It'll take some getting used to.
I thought you thought Al Khan hung the moon.
I like him, I just never thought of him as my stepfather.
I never pictured having to face him at breakfast or in the bathroom waiting to get in. You know, I hope he doesn't want us to call him Dad.
Oh, come on, stop it.
So, Mom's name will be Mrs. Khan.
Lord.
You two are taking all the romance out of this. If this makes your mother happy, well, it's her choice. That's all that matters.
You're right.
You gotta welcome him into the family. I hope he related to me, too, after we're married. He'll be my, stepfather-in-law, if there is such a thing.
Who will? Mom and Al are getting married.
Isn't it swell? My word, he'll be our children's grandfather. Is it grandfather?
It's Mom's choice. We figure if it makes her happy.
We should go along with it.
I think it's wonderful beyond words.
It's beyond words. Wonderful is not what I'd call it.
Oh, you should play professionally.
You're quite a diplomat.
No, I'm serious.
Maybe I'll have to if they don't end the lockout.
For something that started off as a favor to my grandmother, this evening hasn't turned out half bad.
I agree.
Your grandmother mentioned something about an Indians game. She said you had a pair of tickets. Did you have someone in mind to use the other one?
I don't know what to say.
Say you want to go.
I want to go.
Somehow I knew that. Good night. Good night, Grandma.
Don't start, Mother. I didn't force him to give this to me. I didn't even ask him. I think it was a very generous thing for him to do.
Now, let's also celebrate Jeff's big day tomorrow. Here's to a bunch of home runs.
To your first day.
To the Indians.
Good luck. Where did you find this champagne on such short notice?
It was ours.
We were saving it for our wedding, but this was too special an occasion to neglect.
Well, I think some sort of speech is in order.
Oh, no.
Linda.
I do know Al's speeches, and they can go on forever.
Well, it just goes to show how well you think you know me, young lady. I was only going to say 2 words.
Oh, impossible.
Thank you.
Ah, there you go.
Thank you for what?
Thank you for making me feel welcome.
It's 7 words.
You tricked him.
Thank you, Jeff and Ginger, for making me feel welcome. Thank you, Linda, for making me feel self-conscious.
Hey, come have a glass of champagne.
You're wearing the hat?
Why shouldn't I?
Oh, you should if you want to. I only wonder if it's a bit dressy for a baseball game. But suit yourself. You do look lovely in it.
I thought the whole point of my attending a ball game was to demonstrate to our union brothers and sisters that God's in his heaven, all's right with our world, contract dispute or no.
But we don't want to appear to be fiddling while Rome burns. I tell you how happy I am you're going with me. I know you don't generally enjoy spectator sports.
Well, don't make too much of it. I'll be self-conscious. You don't like this either?
I love it. I only wonder if you'll be comfortable in it at the stadium.
Do you know how many union wives would kill to be able to dress as I do? Michael, you're forgetting that even unionists want to better themselves and need goals to aspire to and people to look up to. I'm beginning to develop sympathy for Bess Truman, which is something I never thought I could have towards a Democrat.
You're up late.
Can't sleep.
Do you want me to make you something?
No, thanks.
Do you have anything to say about your actions earlier tonight?
What actions?
Your rudeness to the guests in this house. I think an apology is in order, not so much to me, but to Al.
Has Al apologized for his actions?
I am not talking about Al.
I am! Hell, Mother, look what's happened since he showed up.
Don't you use that language in my house.
He's managed to shut down the biggest employer in this city. He's managed to get you pregnant. And let's not forget that my wife would be alive today if it weren't for your Mr. Al Khan.
You can't blame him for that.
I remember you worrying when I went overseas, thinking maybe I'd catch some disease or maybe I'd lose my faith. But as far as I can tell, I am the only one in this family who's held on to his standards. Everything that you and Dad taught us, I am practicing what you preached. I'm glad Dad isn't alive today. He'd be ashamed of what's going on here. He wouldn't want Al Khan setting foot in this house, and neither do I. You want to marry him, that is your business, but do not expect me to stick around.
Welcome, one and all to the 1946 Cleveland Indian home opener. Thanks very much.
1,800 members of Walter Reuther's motley UAW are fighting with Eleanor Barace's husband, and she still manages to wear her main bochet.
Thank you very much.
Was Mrs. Seneff coming? She wasn't feeling well. She asked me to give her ticket to someone else. Oh. Who'd you give it to?
Hi. Sorry I'm late.
I'm glad you can make it.
Hi.
Hi.
You haven't missed anything.
Good.
That's not Jeff. Pardon? Out in the right field. That's not Jeff.
Play ball!
Oh, he's not in the starting lineup?
Is he still on the team?
Batting first and playing shortstop.
Yes.
Chris Campbell.
What's Jeff's number?
It's number 4. But he's not in the starting lineup.
Where is he?
On the bench.
Which bench?
In the dugout. You can't see it from here. Do you want me to explain this to you?
Yes, please. It's a bit like cricket, isn't it?
Oh, cricket's a sissy game. Bat's so big, how could you miss?
Oh, go on.
All right, there are 9 players on the field. All the positions that they play have names. I'll get to that in a minute. The deal is to hit the ball, run around the bases to score. Now watch. The pitcher throws the ball, stung him.
But he not hit the ball.
Right, that's a strike. 3 of them and you're out of there.
You must leave.
No, bat no more until your next at bat.
But he didn't swing.
Ball?
Because, hey up, get some glasses.
Another strike, yes?
No, that was a ball.
Yes, the ball was a strike.
He threw the ball. But when it's not a strike, it's called a ball.
So then what do you call the ball when it's a strike?
When the batter swings and misses the ball, that's a strike.
And he still didn't swing.
Because the pitcher, the guy throwing, got the ball between the shoulders and the knees.
Hitting the man?
No. He got the ball between here and over the plate without hitting the batter.
Where's the plate?
The batter's standing next to it.
I thought that was the bait. He hit it good.
No, foul. You have to hit it in fair territory. You see that white stripe? It has to stay between that white line and, no, that, in order to be a hit. Otherwise, it's a foul. And he did it again. Good catch. He's out of there.
I see. So, 3 strikes or 2 fouls and you're out.
No, he's out because the catcher caught it. Say, I've got an idea. You guys ask me questions. This way, we'll explain it step by step in a way that makes sense to you. What don't you understand?
Why is everybody spitting?
Yes, it's quite unpleasant, really.
Does anyone want a hot dog?
They should put that Metcalf boy in. Just to please this crowd. A hometown boy making the big leagues. Crazy not to put him in.
Yeah, you're right.
Robert, you do know that your grandmother only has your best interests at heart.
Her great-grandchildren are in my best interest.
Well, at her age, you can't blame her for trying. And that Mary Louise sounded like a fine young woman.
Yes, she is.
Good looking, too.
She is that.
Good head on the shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
You gonna ask her out again?
No plans to.
Why not?
Not interested.
Why not? You got me sounding like your grandmother. You got other plans that I don't know about?
The woman I want to marry's in Europe.
You never said a word.
She's a French woman.
A French woman.
Charlie, I don't understand. Why are those older men standing at the first base and the third one?
They're the coaches. They tell the players when to run and when not to.
They need to be told when to run?
They can't always see where the ball's been hit.
Well, neither can I. The ball's so small. I don't see why they don't use a bigger one.
Metcalf, hit for Richardson.
There he is! Chip! I think I'm gonna cry. I'm so proud.
Let's go, Mutt! Win it for us.
Jeff!
Pitch hitting in a situation like this, that's too much pressure for a kid.
Double play!
Why are they stopping? It's over. Come on.
Wait, it's not fair if everybody doesn't get their turn.
When scored, Detroit 5 runs, 8 hits, and no errors. Cleveland 3 runs, 5 hits, and 1 error. Thank you for attending today's game.
Oh, this was wonderful, Charlie.
Wonderful, we lost.
I know, but it was still wonderful. We will come again, I hope. And maybe next time we can see Jackie Robinson play.
Who told you about Jackie Robinson?
Mr. Davis said that he's a great baseball player.
Great colored player, but he plays in another league.
They play a different game.
No, the same, but just only... Gina, I can't explain everything to you.
There's no official Army policy against mixed marriages, so I was ordered to break off our engagement voluntarily. I said no, so I was transferred out of my unit. When we found each other again, they threatened a dishonorable discharge, till the press officer at the base told them the papers might make a stink. So my commanding officer arranged for the local police to arrest her for prostitution and sped up my discharge on humanitarian grounds. That's why I came home earlier than anybody expected.
What do you plan to do?
I want to find her. Bring her over.
let's not tell your grandma about this right now. Is that fine with you?
Yes, sir.
Maybe not tell your mother yet either.
Fine. Fine.
So did he tell you about it? He hasn't yet. Oh, but I think it's exciting.
Hey, sir. How you doing? Hey, great. Come on in. Thanks.
Oh, it was his first.
To meet some of the guys.
You're playing the I did.
I know you didn't know you weren't going to play, but you feel better now, right?
Why should I feel better?
Well, you didn't do any of the things you were worried about doing. You didn't strike out or fall on your face or drop a ball.
No.
You're not jinxed. You look swell in your uniform, too.
We're so proud of you, honey.
I didn't do anything.
You made the team.
Well.
Dad would have been very proud.
Yeah, I wish Dad were here right now.
Congratulations.
Well, we'll see everybody at the Roadhouse, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna take a rain check, baby brother.
Nothing to celebrate anyway.
Oh, sure there is. You're not coming with us?
Sloans have invited me to dinner.
Then take a rain check from them. Your family's gonna celebrate.
Is Mr. Khan included in my family?
I've had just about enough of this.
Well, I've had more than enough of him.
You don't know him well enough to condemn him the way you do.
I know him well enough to be ashamed you even still speak to him.
This is not the way I raised you.
Not the way. Are you acting according to the way you were raised?
I know Sarah's death has been hard on you, but it gives you no right to talk that way.
No sermons, please. People in glass houses. Remember?
I have never seen this before. In some ways, you do take after your father.
Well, maybe we should thank God for small favors. Because my father would never have shamed the family this way. I don't understand how someone at your age, with your background, doesn't have higher standards than to be caught dead with Al Khan.
I do know how at your age. It happens that you don't know what your father was like.
I knew him well enough to know he's probably turning over in his grave.
You think highly of him.
Yes, I do.
You idolized him.
Yes, I did.
Because he died before you were old enough or clever enough to realize what a selfish, deceitful person he was.
What are you talking about? He was a great father. You always said so.
I did always say so. Who wants to admit that she's been treated badly? And also, boys should look up to their fathers.
Treated badly? He worked himself into an early grave trying to pay off our house.
I inherited that house from my parents. Your father put mortgages on it and nearly lost it. I told you he was working late because I didn't want you to know where he was or what he was doing. All those nights, he was not working late. I hope you meet us at the Roadhouse. Al isn't perfect, but he loves me. And if I have the chance for the kind of marriage I've always wanted, how can I pass that up?